Hello and welcome to the March 6th meeting of the Historic District Commission. You'll have to forgive me as this is only my second meeting that I've run here, so I'll say this board's action in these matters has been deemed to be quasi-judicial in nature. If any person believes any member of the board has a conflict of interest, that issue should be raised at this point or it will be deemed waived. I will go ahead and introduce everyone here tonight. I've got Dr. Dan Brown.
Good evening.
Martin Ryan.
Good evening.
Vice Chair Margot Doring.
Hello.
I'm Chair Reagan Rudig. We've got Isaac Gilbo from the Planning Department.
Good evening.
John Wyckoff.
Good evening.
Our Council Representative Rich Blaylock.
Good evening.
And David Adams.
Good evening.
And then we have Larry Booz, who is our alternate, who is joining us on Zoom. Larry, I'm not sure that there'll be too many opportunities for you to vote tonight, but we welcome your comments. All right. Let's start off with the approval of the minutes from last month, February 13th. Does anybody have any comments?
Yes, I do. Item number 3, it says that I said the building wasn't originally in the historic district, but was now, which is true. And the applicant could ask for vinyl replacement siding if future improvements were made. I don't believe that's what I said. I think what I was saying is that the whole point of making changes was to move towards improvement, and that to put vinyl replacement siding on was sort of going backwards or staying still versus moving forward, where we're trying to move towards better materials that are more in keeping with the historic district. So if that could be reviewed on the recording and see if I'm remembering what I said.
Okay. I agree. Any other comments? All right. Can I get a motion?
Motion to approve with the adjustments.
I'll
second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, now we have a list of administrative approvals. The first 3.
Excuse me.
Yes.
You haven't read the board's actions?
I did.
Oh, you did read these.
Very beginning.
I'm sorry.
Thanks for reminding me. The first 3 administrative approvals that we have on our list, 466 Marcy Street, 182 Market Street, and 425 Islington Street, have requested to postpone. Do we need a motion for that because it's administrative?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. I know Mr. Adams would like to recuse himself from number 5, 143 Gate Street, and
Number 7
number 7?
and number 10.
Oh,
excuse
number
me.
10, that's Gate Street, sorry, wrong Gate Street.
Yep.
Number 7, 64 Vaughn Street, and number 10, 213 Gate Street, so maybe we should start with those.
Yes, I will get my screen shared just 1 second. So we can start with number 7, 64 Vaughn Street. At our last meeting, it was asked that the applicant bring in their final material submission for the penthouse roofing. We have a spec of that in our packet tonight, and I believe we might have a physical sample of that as well.
That is correct.
All right.
My name is Dean Smith, the Associate Director of North American Facilities for Novacure. This is the sample of that spec that you're looking at, and if I can approach,
Sure.
so you can actually see it better. It is a double glazed smoked gray glass. If you want to take it, it's a little bit heavy. Just
Which side's up?
it doesn't matter actually.
What side?
Go either way.
Oh, okay, I was saying. I
Less
thought that was-
fingerprints on one side. So it gives more of a gray color as opposed to clear, and the gray is for solar glare, so we have less.
Nice.
Does it look different in this light versus out in the sunlight?
So this will be obviously cut to the correct size. This is just a sample, but this is for the roof only. It is not the side lights, because the side lights will be a standard Anderson window. similar to what we have on the remainder of the building.
And those will not be darkened or tinted at all?
No.
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 Okay.
Yeah.
Here you go.
As you can see, there's no mirror or reflective coating on this.
Okay, great, thank you. Anybody have any questions for him anymore? Okay.
And do we want to do a separate vote on this, move on to Gates, or just combine those two together?
Let's just combine them.
Perfect. All right, so we'll move right on down to 213 Gate Street, item number 10. So the applicant here, unfortunately, the building during the January flooding events that we had, all three of the AC condensers that were previously located underneath the existing side sort of porch were completely flooded. And when they wanted to go and replace those, the unit owners found out that actually the location previously wasn't even up to code, but certainly not after what had happened. So therefore, they do have to relocate those AC condensers. Given the sort of unique nature of the structure itself on the corner of the street, it's very difficult to replace these condensers. So what they've proposed is to replace those in this side parking area or driveway area, excuse me. There's already other mechanical systems and equipment out here. They would propose to line those up as you see there. And they're also proposing to use either a wood slat screening, or if it was preferred, there is already a lattice screening underneath the porch area that they could also use to screen that as well. So as you can see, two of the units would be this spec here, and one would be this spec. They are roughly similar sized. And here's just another view sort of looking from the street at sort of where the general location would be of those.
Issues or questions?
I guess the only question I have is what gap there would be between, and either in the lattice or in the picket that they're talking about. I mean, is it big, small, wide? It's very close to the street.
Yes, I unfortunately I don't have a photo of what the existing looks like, but it is a fairly tight lattice. You definitely cannot see underneath the porch as is.
Just a little square.
And is it, oh, wait, okay. Are they planning to do one continuous from the, to cover all three at once and not have individual coverings?
Oh, I'm not entirely sure if the plan is to do one continuous. I believe the idea, if I'm not mistaken, would be to have each one maybe have its own screening. Is that right? Or
Would you like to come up and answer any of these questions since you're here?
What's going on?
Thank you. Yeah, just come up and introduce yourself.
Hi, good evening, Emily Hefner. At this point, we're not exactly sure what we need to do or what we're going to place there. I wish we were trying to find a picture of the lattice work. The lattice work is, if you go a little bit farther down, Isaac, and maybe we can see it from the street side. If I can.
You can zoom in on that.
yeah.
Yeah, I can,
There's already some.
Don't touch it.
We can't hear.
You're gonna have to bring the
Yeah,
microphone.
you'll have to either
Don't
bring
touch
them.
the screen.
Yeah. You'll have to come back to the microphone to talk. Nobody can.
Can you see where the bike is?
Yes.
There we go. That's around the house right now. That's on the back and the sides. We were hoping that we would either paint it the same colors you see some of the other utilities, or put up a lattice work, depending on
Sticks
what
out.
would look more visually
Goes quite a distance.
appealing. At this point, we're really not sure, but we will be, as you can see, we will be moving the flower box and the trellis that we have right now. Alrighty?
And I have a question. Will these be these will just be standing on the ground, or will they be mounted to the wall?
No,
the side of the house?
New Hampshire State and City Code require them to be a minimum of 12 inches off the ground and certain, I'm not exactly sure what it is between the wall of the house, but that was one of the problems that we ran into. They have to be 5 feet away from the utilities, 10 feet away from the property line, and this was the best viable option we could find by going around the house. But we want to be considerate and thoughtful when planning some sort of a covering for it or a blending, because we do live in a historic district, and we want to keep that integrity.
Sure. Well, does anybody have preferences that we could recommend? Yes.
I can see a problem is the thickness of the unit with the distance that's required from the wall. It puts it out into the driveway. I'm not sure about this location.
Isaac, do you still have some of the other photos
Um,
where we
no,
did
I-
some measuring?
I just
as-
have the ones here.
If you look at the bottom of you'll see some pavers that are standing up.
Yes.
From the pavers to the house is 12 inches.
Yeah.
So we figure if you look at the flat pavers, we measured from where we have the clearance in the house, the width of each condenser, and then possibly the arm that they'll be resting on. And it will take you, I'm going to approach the screen without touching this.
Thank you.
It will take them no farther than this, in this area.
Okay. So you'll be losing a little bit of your driveway.
Yeah.
But you'll be losing a little bit of your driveway.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, we've measured, there's been a lot of forethought and a lot of, a lot of brainstorming that's gone into this about the location, and this seems to be the most viable.
Okay. So what is the pleasure of the commission? Do we want a full, long lattice covering, or separate ones, or what, just for, as a recommendation?
I'm all for one
One
continuous.
continuous?
I agree.
No preference.
All right, great. Great, thank you for the clarifications. All right, should we vote on these two? So, did you have-
Yep, so it would be items number 764 Vaughn Street and item number 10, 213 Gate Street, and 213 Gate Street just with the stipulation that the screening option be one continuous to cover all three. And did we have a preference on the lattice versus a slat style, or would we allow the applicant to make that decision on their own?
They seem to prefer
I
the
think
lattice.
lattice is appropriate. The one thing about this is it's going to have to be able to be lifted up and moved
That's their problem.
once in a while when somebody has to recharge the units or something
Right,
like
or
that.
at least have a door or something swinging in there.
It's going to be a number of little doors, about
Right,
3 little,
okay.
I'd rather
Well,
simplify it
sure.
myself.
Sure, all right, well, just as warning. Okay. great.
Okay.
I'm ready to make a motion
Thank
to
you.
approve
Thank you.
Second?
with the stipulations as cited.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Chair votes aye. Great.
Aye.
You've got that. You're good to go. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
All right,
So
so.
continue with the rest now.
Yes, thank you. So that will bring us back to item number 4, which is 11 Meeting House Hill Road. The applicant here is seeking the installation of a matte black aluminum gutter for the front and rear of the home. It is a seamless K-style that they are proposing. So it would run the front of the main structure itself, coming down each side with downspouts, and then in the rear, it would go across the back on the top with downspouts again coming down. They, of course, had the matte black that they chose here, and this is just what they showed as, kind of the sample spec of what the gutter would look like, again, just in the matte black color to match the siding.
Sure.
It doesn't match the siding.
Sorry, you are correct. No, sorry, to blend in more with the house and, sorry, the color, instead of having a white
No, I
option.
understand.
Yes, my apologies.
I understand.
Ch-
I'm more-
Chairman, going along with, I think the same theme, gutters typically have downspouts.
Yes.
Are the downspouts going to be black also?
That would be correct,
That's what
yes.
they have in their application.
Interesting.
Any other comments, thoughts?
That color, obviously,
I have a question in that
show the same system.
it looks like the front facade of the house, the eave comes in front of the window header. And so my question is, if you're adding a gutter, will that just further cover the tops of those second-story windows?
Oh, you mean and kind of block some of the, right,
yeah, they're right there.
Right.
Right.
They go all the way up to the.
I think that would maybe have a slight effect like that, yes. Yep.
So I'm questioning whether we want to see just a big black line covering the top parts of the windows.
It goes there. It goes there.
Yes, John?
I mean, there are other colors I'm having a little trouble. See, there's colonial red, which is similar,
It can also be painted.
and there's terracotta, which could possibly match the house. I'm thinking that black is the wrong choice.
Well, our guidelines do generally, I mean, they do say that the downspouts at least, and gutters should match the trim and siding or whatever that is behind it.
Yeah. They don't.
So, if you were okay with the gutters, we could stipulate that they paint them to actually match
Match the house
the
color,
house.
which is pretty monochromatic.
I believe I was incorrectly saying that it would match the house. I believe what the homeowner was going for was that there are the black windows, black garage door, so it sort of tie into the red and black theme that's there. But as I said, we can always stipulate, if we are okay with the gutters, that they are painted to match the house entirely, and that way, hopefully that would maybe break up some of the long black line across the top of the windows.
Yeah, I think your instincts on that are correct. It should should fade into the body color of the house.
Okay.
Just the downspouts.
Just the downspouts or the gutters too?
All of it.
I think the gutters too. This is a very monochromatic house, so trim and clapboard. All right.
Okay.
Next.
All right. Moving on. Item number 5 is 143 Gate Street. The applicant here is seeking approval to do a clapboard and trim repair on the north and east sides of the home, and to do a full replacement of clapboards and trim on the south side of the house. All of the new trim and clapboards will be of pine, and they did suggest that they would be matching the original exposure, dimensions, etc. So here's a view of the east gable, photo of the south side there, and then the full south side. So they'll be replacing the entire set of trim and clapboards here, and then making repairs as needed on the east.
Isaac, why does this need approval if isn't this a replacement in kind?
It is. It's really more the amount of it.
The scale.
The scale, so I just wanted it to be documented and to just have it on file.
Thank you.
So,
Chairman, I'm looking at this, and notice a air compressor or an heating unit, whatever. I don't recall reviewing that. Is that something that anyone recalls?
I can't.
yep, I see what you mean in the back there.
I suggested, what piques my interest is that there's no screening on it whatsoever, and it's
Right.
quite visible.
Right. Well, that's something that we can have Vincent maybe look into
Yep.
and see when it was,
When or if that, may have been approved or.
yes,
Yep.
maybe it was installed without a permit, who knows? But thank you for noticing that.
All right, any other questions on 143 Gates? Okay. We'll move on to item number 6, which is 411 The Hill. The applicant here is seeking to install 2 bathroom vents on the second floor. That was kind of a very dark image there, but I was able to find a lighter image. So the 2 vent locations would be these 2 X locations here. Technically, they do vent towards a public way, even though they're on the rear of the house, so they are here for approval. I would suggest that we just stipulate that they are painted to match the siding of the house.
Yes.
Okay. All right, that will bring us on to item number 8, which is 480 State Street. So the applicant here is seeking the approval for the replacement of specific trim pieces. They're currently wood. They would like to move to a PVC material and then also replace some siding with a sort of cement or hardboard material. So we'll just quickly go through. So they were looking to replace, looks to be 80 line feet of this corner trim board with the PVC. They're looking to replace this bit of trim here, again with the PVC material. And then this is the part of the siding that they were hoping to reside with the cement board. And then also this water table board as well to be replaced with the PVC.
Reactions? Thoughts? This is generally a new construction building. This was, what, 2010 or so?
No, it's older than that, because I moved here in '04 and it was already there.
Really?
Mhm.
Okay. So-
Yeah, Louis' family did it, probably the '90s.
Everybody okay with it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are we talking about a full replacement of the siding or just in some areas? That's what it sounded like you had described it, Isaac.
Yes, so, sorry, just 1 second.
I would think it's just the piece that's deteriorated from the drip coming off the roof. It
Yes,
seems.
yep, so they just wanted to replace just the rotted material that they had shown in the photos. So it'd be just over here by the roof area where you can see the most damage.
They're quoting 140, I don't know what line feet is, I assume he means lineal, he
Linear.
doesn't know how to spell. But 140 lineal feet, it's not extraordinary, it wouldn't redo the side of a building, although 200 and some 73 feet of water table sounds like the
The whole
entirety of the
thing.
structure.
Right.
80 feet of corner boards is probably like 4 corner boards. So it's a lot of banging is going to take place there. I mean, there's a lot of ground to cover,
Yeah.
but not all of the siding.
And this is just a question that I have, how feasible is it to match cement board with wood siding next to one
Weaving
next to
it
each other?
into a surface sounds like a bad move.
It does.
It's just hard to make it look like it was purposeful.
Where does it
Oh,
say that this is wood siding?
I'm sorry, so it actually, if I look
Hardy
closely,
board?
it says replace hardboard siding with similar.
Yeah.
So this is,
But then it says cement board.
What? Then,
or
It says in-
similar product cement board, right?
Yeah, in parentheses.
Right.
Could we,
How does
That
how does cement
hardboard
board
was gonna
rot?
be forever. This house was
a good
built, what,
question.
2023?
which
what the,
water up
that's
indoor,
what the
especially on
city says.
cuts like that?
It can really? I've
2003?
I've seen it. There's a place on
2023,
Bennett
or
Street.
2003, right, yeah. It's 20 years old, yeah.
So 20 years old.
Pathetic.
20 years old seems about right for the life of some wood clapboards that are exposed to a lot of water, but I don't know how successful it would be to match the cement board with the rest of the wood siding, so.
I don't either.
I don't see it being wood siding. I'm
Do you think
not.
I think
this
it's
is-
all
If I-
cement.
Where does it say?
Can I interject something?
Hi, Larry, sure.
Hi, I think, looking at this here, I think it just might be a spelling error, where they said replace hardboard siding. I think they meant to say hardy board, which is the cement board.
Yeah.
So I think it might be a spelling error.
Yeah, because it's all hard.
See what I'm saying?
And we got lines.
So it might all be hardy board siding already,
Never heard it called that.
Hardy board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
because that's the name brand of the product.
Right.
Just a thought.
Uh-huh.
Are you right?
Right.
And a good
And
one.
if that was the case, it would be a replacement in
Sure.
kind?
It would be a replacement in kind.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay, great.
well,
Do,
go for it. Yeah.
okay. Do we want to maybe stipulate that they maybe can come back and prove?
I would say just replacing kind, so if it's wood
Fair.
clapboards, it should be replaced with wood.
I'll word it just like that, yes.
The rest of the trim can be replaced.
Okay.
That's fine, as presented.
All right, so that will bring us down to item number 9, which is 111 State Street. So the applicant here, of course, this project has been before us a few times. Oh, okay, I see. Tracy, if you want to give us just a quick rundown.
Yes, so this is minor dimensional adjustments to conform to the existing measurements that we measured in the field. There's no change of scope. It's just aligning things so that the headers align with the existing headers and the roof aligns with the existing roof. But there is one slight change from what we submitted based on the field conditions on the side facing State Street. On the corner building, when the fake stone veneer was peeled off, we discovered all sorts of interesting things, including a lot of Swiss cheese bricks, but there was also a shallow arch transom on the left with a 4-inch Rolock elliptical arched header over it, which we were trying very much to save. The quality of the bricks, the holes in the bricks, and the new window lintel that was going in made that impossible. So we would like to stay with what was originally approved, and I have a photo of the existing conditions as they are right now for you to look at.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.
So that's all. We're just requesting to remove that left arch change and keep per the original approval on that one. Thank you.
So this, I saw that, they said there used to be an arch here, and it just fell
That's what
apart.
there's, yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Because
but now-
right here, the
All right,
other
yep.
way. This thing, it says new arch. Right. I think, well,
Just barely see, that's clear, but you can barely see that at all.
You know what she's talking about?
Yeah, I just have one question. On in the packet, it says the existing Rolock arch was the one over the nano window, but then on this picture it shows it over the door. I just don't know which one was original, which ones would be new.
Sure. Looking at this image on the screen, the blue-purple building to the right, it's the nano window to the left of the yellow
Yep.
door.
Yes.
And you see a little red cloud above there. That's the area we're talking about.
That new or existing?
That's existing.
Okay, because it's not in the picture.
Right, so, well,
Okay.
that's the whole kind of point. We didn't know it
Okay.
was there. We saw it was there. We submitted this application to try to keep it. But between then and now, it fell
I see.
apart. So,
I see. Sorry, I was just
Yeah.
confused. Looking at that picture and then, yeah.
yeah.
Thank you.
Okay,
There's something there.
okay.
Yeah, Mr. Adams has a picture. John, if you want to,
Left and right of that.
that's what was there.
Oh, the old door.
It was the old upstairs door, second floor door.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions? All right.
Okay. So that, one second, will bring us down to our last administrative approval item, which is 195 Washington Street. Again, this is for the installation of a aluminum K-style seamless gutter for the front and the rear of the home. This particular homeowner has been doing a couple of renovation projects already. They've replaced the roof, and in order to safeguard the roof and to not have their backyard become an ice rink every winter, they'd like to install gutters. So again, it would run across sort of the front trim board here, down the two sides to downspouts, and then similarly in the rear of the home. They've proposed to go with the white so that it would blend into the trim as much as possible. And this is just an actual couple of photos that the homeowner literally had from their contractor to show, you know, sort of what style that would be.
Okay.
Now, this one lends itself much better to gutters with this flat fascia board.
Great.
Right.
The gutters will be below the, like the dental?
No teeth missing.
Those dentals are actually blocking for a previous gutter that was
Oh,
left in
okay.
place.
All right,
Okay.
Okay.
thank you.
All right, well, that concludes our administrative approvals. So what I'll do is I will quickly just read through the list, go over any stipulations, and then we can do a final vote. So that will bring me back to the top, which is item number 4, 11 Meeting House Hill Road. We had stipulated that the homeowner actually paint the gutters and downspouts to match the siding and or color of the house, as they're the same. Item number 5, 143 Gate Street, I believe we had approved as presented. Item number 6, 411 The Hill, we just have stipulated that the 2 bathroom vents are painted to match the siding of the house. Item number, let's see, 8, 480 State Street. We approved the trim pieces in the PVC with the stipulation that the applicant homeowner replace the siding in kind, whether that's wood or a hardy material or cement material, excuse me. Item number 9 is 111 State Street. It was approved as presented. Item number 11, 195 Washington Street, approved as presented.
Thank you, Isaac. Motion to approve.
So moved?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Thank you. All right, so we have, for the rest of the meeting, we have a couple of requests to postpone. This first one is the certificate, the rehearing for a certificate of approval for a rehearing for Michael B. Myers and Stephanie G. Taylor, owners for property located at 700 Middle Street. They have requested to postpone several times. I think we could probably do one more, and if they still want to postpone after that, then they'll have to reapply.
Reapply, right.
Or repost.
Yes, not necessarily reapply, but we will renotice
Yes.
their request.
And then the second request to postpone is public hearings, old business petition of Joseph Cunningham, owner, and Jane Myers Vani, prospective buyer, for property located at 195 Washington Street. That was what we're just looking at here, but they also have requested to postpone a few times.
Yep, so similarly, I think this is probably the last one. They initially had come to us to do a very full renovation of the exterior. They found out that, after sort of speaking with contractors and kind of realizing the extent of work that would need to get done, they would not be able to get everything done sort of all at one time. So they're now sort of taking things bit by bit. So I will chat with them and see if they want to either withdraw and then reapply when they are ready to move forward with public hearing items.
Great, thanks. So can I get a motion to postpone?
So moved.
Second?
And this is just for next month, and then we'll see what happens after that. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Any opposed? No. Great. All right, so now we'll get to the real work. First public hearing, new business, is the petition of Islington Place Condominium Association, owner for property located at 369 Islington Street, wherein permission is requested to allow exterior renovations to an existing structure, new first-floor windows, excluding the storefront windows, shorten the existing chimneys, replace siding and roofing, and install new composite decking and railing system at the side entrance, as per plans on file in the Planning Department. Said property is shown on Assessor Map 144 as Lot 22 and lies within the Character District and Historic Districts. Who's here to present? All right. Welcome, please come introduce yourself.
Good evening. I'm Scott Rafferty. I'm representing Islington Place Condo Association. I also own, or businesses own 2 units out of the 5 in the building. Basically, out of all the items you mentioned, one of the main ones that we're coming back for is definitely the chimneys. That had been approved, I think it was 2020.
Yep.
Due to kind of COVID and doing a moratorium on condo fees and everything, we never actually got to that project. So that will end up, or we're trying to now get that done. Same ask that we had in 2020, and that needs to be done prior to completing any of the roof projects. So as you can see, the building itself is in quite a bit of need of repair and restoration, but would like to, kind of chip away at the list we have within the next year, if possible, and kind of we're able to build up our reserves to get that to hopefully happen. So our long story short, a lot of the windows in this as well are already vinyl replacement windows. I would say, probably close to 70% of the building already is vinyl replacement windows. The ones that are getting replaced on the first floor we're looking for are either wood windows, but then they wouldn't match some of the vinyl windows on the first floor. And then a lot of the vinyl replacement windows on the first floor are inoperable to the point, basically you open them, they'll come right down. I almost lost a finger on it. So basically we're trying to take those out and as best match the windows that are currently in all of the other units with the Harvey replacement windows. As for the siding, we're looking to try to do a vinyl siding because right now we're dealing with asbestos siding that's currently on the building, and would look to remove that and then put up the vinyl siding. Obviously for the association, one of the big things is to make it cost effective, but there's many places in the building where the siding is either completely off or has started to crack. So that's it for the siding. The decks on the side deck boards, replacing with the Trex Transcend railings, and then the decking, pretty much some areas are very, very fragile, a lot of rot in regards to the railings, so it'd be a full replacement of that decking on the side. The front portion, as of right now, would remain the same. There has been a little bit of damage in regards to some of the work that has happened there this year, so that one's kind of up in the air in regards to what we will be looking to do. And then lastly, I think it was the roof. There's a picture, if you go down, that you'll see kind of some of the roof pictures. Might be a little difficult. Keep going. Up there, you can kind of see right where that, like there's literally, you're looking at the old barn boards that are there. So that's, for us, is an immediate need. And then a lot of the times tucked in some of those gable ends is there's missing siding as well. That's totally just non-existent, so you're right down to the original barn boards. And then the one other thing we have on here is, right now, it's a metal coil aluminum trim wrap up on all the exterior trim. Some of it is in rough shape. I know that'll probably be an issue when we go to repair that roof, to make sure that, it's done appropriately, but it's pretty obvious when you drive by that it's a problem. So that's why I'm saying we're trying to basically replace with what's currently there. And that should do it. That's pretty much what we're.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
Any questions or comments?
Do you know what's under the asbestos siding?
I would just admit, from where the other areas have opened up, it looks like just a barn board.
And you have clapboard on the new addition?
This
Will you be
clapboard
putting
on the-
vinyl on that, or will you keep it the
The
same?
clapboard on the new addition is starting to, there's spots where that's totally gone too. So whoever installed it, I don't think was the best, but definitely to the point that it would either have to do the entire property with the wood clapboard, but that would be something the association would have a real tough time trying to afford.
Sure, John?
Concerning the chimneys, I realize you have approval to take them down. Are you going to rebuild these chimneys?
Yeah, we were shorting them, I believe it was 2.5 feet.
That's not what I meant. Are you going to rebuild them? Are they
All the way
going to go
down?
down to the roof and then build up 2.5 feet?
No, I believe it was just repointing and then.
Well,
taking
you,
off the 2.5 feet.
The approval was also for the same type of chimney top that's existing. And that top looks to me like it takes up about 3 or 4 bricks, which in my mind takes up 8 or 10 inches. I mean, that's getting very close to the roof as is. To have that, essentially the top of the chimneys be that low.
Yeah.
What I'm seeing on closer inspection, and I'm trying to do the best I can, but it's very blurry, is that the chimneys look like they might have been coated with a stucco or some sort of paint. Does that make sense? Am I seeing that right?
Like somebody might have done a job repointing prior to, but.
It might be messy mortar.
I think it's really just a poor job.
messy mortar.
Yeah.
Really?
I don't,
Yeah,
what do you
John,
think?
here.
You can see it better?
It looks like somebody put a wash of mortar on the outside to try to. Glob. Yeah.
Glopped it on there.
Well, it's faster, and, it's been done, some chimneys were actually painted, and it maybe, there was a lime-rich painting sort of project. I don't know, really hard to know.
Like basement paint.
Like that, yes.
So I guess what I'm wondering is how is the new chimney tops going to work with this?
I think, Mr. Wyckoff, that your observations are pretty on spot. It's going to look awkward. It's going to look like no other chimney you've ever seen.
Pretty stumpy.
It's going to be a hybrid.
Yeah, a hybrid chimney, yeah.
Question, are the chimneys connected to either exposed fireplaces inside, whether or not they're working, or are they to heating units in the basement?
No, they're just basically furnaces from the basement venting.
Okay, so, all right, so they are in use as
Furnaces are in
for
use, yeah.
venting. Sure. Martin?
So you need a certain height then,
2.5
correct, by code? They
2.5
are
feet, I believe.
housing heating
They
unit heights?
from the last time they did 2.5 feet, but usually it's 36 inches.
Yeah. Okay.
The elephant in the room is the siding. Now, you want to take the transit siding off, and you want to put vinyl siding on. This is the historic district, very main, busy public street. I can't approve vinyl siding under those circumstances.
The building across the street is vinyl too.
Well, that's not right either. But
Take
the
that
point
observation.
is, this should be a work session and not a public hearing. We should be working through this, working with you to find a solution. Can we maybe start over again?
I don't think we can start over again, but I think we can do our best to help it right now.
Okay.
Like, we're getting to the point, we can't, it's tough for us to secure insurance coverage on the building.
I'm sorry?
We're getting to the point where it's difficult
can't-
for us
yeah.
to secure insurance coverage.
I can't approve vinyl siding in the historic district under these circumstances. Now, I'd like to find a way forward working with you, but I can't do it under a public hearing. I don't want to have to go not approved and reject you, and then we got to start over again.
Yeah.
But maybe we have to. I don't know.
Well, we can always approve certain parts of this application
Okay,
with stipulations.
understood. All right, well, those are my comments.
I agree with what Martin has said. This building is right on the thoroughfare, and it still has some wonderful, wonderful details. You're very lucky to have the building, but I understand completely the financial challenge that you're facing. So is there a way to prioritize the work in such a way that you can get your insurance, make certain repairs, and plan for the siding to be done in the necessary way for the historic district, but further down the line? Have you looked at any of those options?
Yeah, basically, for us, the immediate concern is the roof. And then for me, just safety-wise, it's the windows and heating, like, it's a sieve, it just pours right in. The windows are, you can't even open them in the summertime. So I think for me, it's those two. And then, you know, we're basically riding the reserve to whatever we can do. We just know that, you know, the building from the exterior, if the side, it's just a tough thing for us to grasp that right now. So
Yep,
being realistic in what's available.
I had a quick question in that, had you had a chance to review our guidelines when you were looking at this, putting together your application?
Yeah.
Okay. So the no vinyl from us shouldn't be too much of a surprise.
I'm not surprised. I'm
Okay.
just like, we're sitting there being like, this asbestos siding is cracking and not great. And
Sure.
some days I come home from a rainstorm and I have a puddle in my office the size of that table. So that's kind of why we're like, hey, you know, we'll put it on the application because I can't foot the bill for a whole condo association. So I think that's where we're at.
Okay, John?
So I've got a couple suggestions. One that might cost you a little bit more. That's taking the chimneys down to the roof and building them up 2.5 feet. You're going to have to have masons up there anyways.
Yeah.
You're obligated to have a top on the chimney that matches what's existing. So you're going to have masons. So if you did that, then you can do your roof, okay? And then you could take the asbestos siding off the front of the building and look at what you have, your clapboards, because, excuse me, a way of saving a lot of money is to take that siding off, which you have to do anyways, and look at the clapboards and give them a scraping and paint the front and have wood siding. Is your office on the left-hand side as we're looking at this building?
Right.
Right. One thing I did notice years ago, those two windows went in, I'm going to say illegally.
Yeah.
They were not approved by the Historic District Commission. I don't think I was on the Historic District Commission at the time. It was probably 15 to 20 years ago, but I do remember walking along and going, geez, look at these, they're putting in two vinyl 6/6 windows.
Oh, you mean the one on the left?
side.
Yes.
Oh, that's the window that literally almost took my finger off.
Yeah.
Like,
So-
as soon as I bought the place, I just
Right.
opened the window and it fell
So
right.
that window, I think it was rushed in too.
Oh, yeah.
I distinctly remember it was like boom, boom, and it was done, not normally the way these things happen.
Yeah.
And the fact that you do have asbestos siding, I would tend to suggest that that window wasn't flashed properly. Because they didn't want to disturb more of the asbestos siding.
Yeah.
They were afraid of it.
I did not own the unit.
No, I'm not saying, you did.
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying you did, but this is just, my observation as walking up and down Islington Street for the last 40 years.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm thinking, but if you were to take off the asbestos siding, look at the wood siding that you have there, you might be able to get away with replacing 1 or 2 clapboards and paint it.
Yeah.
So then you've got your chimneys, your roof, and your siding taken care of.
Yeah. The only problem is if we do take it off and it's not, then,
So what? You have to take it off anyway. You said.
yeah. Well, we would, but you don't have to with vinyl. But
I could almost guarantee you that the wood clapboards are in good shape underneath them.
yeah.
I've done it a number of times myself, and the one thing I've found is that this asbestos siding only has like 3 nails in each shingle. And when you take it off, the clapboards are, you're looking at clapboards from the 1940s or 1930s, and they're not bad.
Yeah.
They haven't been glopped all up with latex paint, that's a good thing.
Yeah. No, I just, if we did and then it wasn't good, now we'd be stuck with trying to have
It's
the
a
repair out,
suggestion.
but yeah. Yeah.
Just to get us over this hump. Thank you.
And, yeah, no, asbestos is unfortunately not good for us, but it's a very effective material. So it's very
It
protective.
is, it's a very good siding. Not bang into it.
I also wanted to address the idea of the vinyl windows because we're also wrestling with another building on Islington Street that wants to replace their vinyl with vinyl. And also in our guidelines, we recommend avoiding the use of vinyl, even when it's replacement in kind, to kind of try and step up and improve on the materials that are there. So, and we certainly appreciate the intent to, or I certainly appreciate the intent to take the 6/6 away and go back to the 2/2,
Yeah.
like the rest of the building.
Yeah.
So I certainly don't know what everybody else thinks, but I would recommend looking at a better non-vinyl but clad.
The only reason I went to vinyl was that's what the rest of the building has.
But as you've noticed, vinyl windows don't last very long. They're not
Yeah,
very
yeah.
good quality. So, and because this is really right up on the street, you can see it. So, my recommendation would be to upgrade the window choice a
Yeah.
bit. And if you could, have you looked into restoring the wood windows that are also on the first floor?
Be quite arrestable. Most of them, some are broken, cracked. None of the hardware works on any of them. It'd be a serious project to go in and fix that window, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, oftentimes it's about the same cost as new windows, so you could try and check and see if you have a carpenter who would look at restoring them. As long as the frames of the sash and everything are in good condition, they can be taken.
Yeah, they're not. Most are rotted and, like, that's what we're gonna find, so that's why when we replace
Yeah,
with a new window, we'll be getting the new sill and all that. Some sills you can put your finger right through.
for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
So given what you've heard, would you like to go back and take a look at how to approach this and talk with a contractor and peel back some siding and take a look at it and come back and say, this is the plan that your condo association can afford? Because that allows you to be in control of what you pick and choose to work on, knowing what our criteria is. Or do you need certain things approved now, and you'd like to come back with suggestions for how
Yeah,
to deal
like
with some
we-
of the other items?
Like the chimney, I guess the chimney and the roof are it's as you saw in the picture, it's straight board, so that's definitely number one. And then for me, it's more the windows, like we can leave the siding for a while and pick away and see what happens, and if we ever get to it, we get to it, but it's more, the windows for me are, it's safety, like they shut right down. I can't, like I said, I sit there in summertime, you can't even open a window. So that's where I'm like, those definitely need the two top items for me on this list. And I would say the association, you know, I'm more personal about the windows, but the association is definitely, the roof is an immediate thing that needs to happen.
It's understandable. Okay, John?
I'm making a suggestion about the chimneys
Okay.
that I'd already discussed and his roof. With the windows, one thing that I can't help but notice, that these are, Harvey Slimlines are the most economical, pretty good, huh? White vinyl windows. Okay, Harvey makes an upgraded vinyl window.
Yeah, the
Not
classic.
saying we want that either. But Harvey also makes something called the Majestic, which is a wood window. It's clad on the outside with metal or whatever. Because the other thing we require is that when that muntin, which is that piece that divides the windows into 2/2s, that be simulated divided light. In other words, that it be a piece on the outside, a piece on the inside, and what's called a spacer bar in the middle. And rather than just a snap-in grill or something like that. And I'm not sure that that sort of detail is available on the slimline windows. So I think you
I
got
don't
to
believe it
get
is.
together with your window person and have a serious discussion. Tell him you're in the historic district. See what he says.
And shop around because
Yeah.
vary in prices and everywhere.
I'm a contractor, so I know all.
Okay,
Oh,
you know all this then.
Yeah, so
I know what you're trying to do.
Okay,
I'm not
great.
trying to do anything. I'm trying to just get my building looking decent.
I appreciate, okay. Any other comments or questions?
When we're recommending our usual wood-clad windows, are we recommending that just for the front or everywhere?
I didn't quite understand.
It's the first floor, but it's the front and wraps around the side. It's the entire first floor windows that they're asking
Really?
for replacements.
He's not doing the second floor window.
No, not at the moment.
The second floor of the building?
You're right.
So those are all separate. So basically, you're
Right.
looking at 4 different units.
Yeah.
So everybody, the way our docs are written up, each owner is responsible for their windows. So, yeah, like, I'm coming with this application for not only the roof, because of the whole building, that's part of the docs for the condo association. I'm coming here saying, well, downstairs, I would like some new windows because there's a problem. And the other ones upstairs are what I'm asking to put downstairs, so it looks uniform. So that's really why I got, like, if you want me to, you know, shop out the different style of windows and do all that, I was more just matching what the rest of the building has.
No, I think we fully understand how we arrived where you did.
Yeah.
But I just think, I'm not the window guy up here. I'll say that.
I think having a higher standard, even for the new windows, as you know, the vinyl windows don't last long. The upper windows at some point will need to be replaced. And so having a higher bar
Yeah,
set for those, eventually, hopefully they'll all be
All right.
the same. Okay, is there anyone in the public who wishes to speak to this? Everybody online, I'm assuming.
Not seeing any.
Okay.
Somebody wants to
I
speak?
would like to speak, at
hi,
least on
yes.
the behalf of the roof and the chimney. I'm one of the other owners of
Yep.
the association.
Please introduce yourself.
My name's Alex Gianluca.
Okay.
I'm the owner of the top unit, which
Okay.
is immediately below the roof. And as the owner of that unit, started to notice water ingress with some of the last storms, so there is definitely a sense of urgency to try to
Yep.
get at least the roof and chimneys on the docket for the sake of the integrity of the rest of the building.
Sure. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, anyone else? All right, I will close the public hearing and wait a motion for some way to hopefully move forward some of these items.
I'd like to make a motion.
Okay.
That the chimneys be rebuilt to the specifications of the previous approval, that the roof be allowed to be reshingled, and that, I mean, he can remove the siding if he wants to, but essentially, at this point, that's all I'm going to make a motion for, those two items.
And
unless-
the rest can come back to us.
And
for-
come back to us after doing more research on our requirements for the windows.
I can second that.
Any other discussion? This should be, I mean, that's
Oh, yeah.
a pretty clear motion. We just need, please give us some purpose and intent
Yep.
thoughtfully.
I mean, essentially, that would preserve the integrity of the district and compatibility of design with surrounding properties.
Okay. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye. All right, so at least you can move forward with some of this and then come back to us later with some of the other items. Okay, thank you. Okay, next, public hearing number 2, petition of Sherry A. Holmes and Yvonne P. Goldsberry, owners for property located at 45 Richmond Street, wherein permission is requested to allow exterior modifications from a previous design, omit the faux chimney, replace existing wood chain link fence, and change garage door, and the installation of mechanical equipment, roof-mounted solar panels, and HVAC condenser and screening, as per plans on file in the Planning Department. Said property is shown on Assessor Map 108 and as Lot 18 and lies within the Mixed Research Office and Historic Districts.
Good evening, Ann Whitney, architect for the project. I guess I'll start with the fencing, that's the easier one. Sort of the back edge and around to the garage is a combination of like some solid wood fencing and chain link fencing, and it's all mounted on a retaining wall. So we're proposing to change that to the slat fencing that we had previously approved for the front of the building. And there are varying heights, so it would be no higher than 5 feet, but just because of the way we're going to have to adjust the heights. And actually, we're thinking most of it will be 4 feet high, not 5 feet, but just because of the variability of that retaining wall, I chose the 5 feet. So that's the easy one. A garage door, we're having some issues with those overlay. It's like an insulated garage door with like a PVC or a wood overlay, and they're just not holding up. And we've used this on a couple of projects outside of the historic district. And I think in the back there, I've got the last 2 pages of the proposal. Proposing it's an insulated aluminum door, pre-finished. They're got really nice profile, and they're lighter, and they just hold up really well. And we're proposing to make that change. And that was the closest I could come to our original layout with the light patterns for that door.
And is there any faux texturing in the aluminum to make it look like wood, or is it just flat?
It's flat. You can get it with the textured, but most of the time we want to have a flat, if we were going to do it out of wood, it would have been a flat painted surface. So it's not a faux grain. It's got a molding, and the generator we're going to be adding. We've already got the approval for the similar slat fence enclosure for the 2 heat pumps, and this is about the only place I can put it. We're going to have to get zoning approval. I have that later this month, but I figured that's the narrow part of it's enclosed from the street with fencing, and that was a place where it has to be 5 feet from any window, so it seemed like a good location. Unfortunately, they can be much closer than they used to be. They used to be 6 feet off the thing, and now we can have it at 18 inches. So that's that. And then we were looking at doing a solar installation on that roof. If you go to the photo sheet, I think it's my page 2. It's a hard roof to see. It's at the top of the hill and it's on the back side. It's a great solar exposure. So we're proposing, if you look on that left-hand photo, coming in 4 feet, starting the array 4 feet in, and then running along. And then the other photo shows, it's the only other place I could get a view of it from a street, which is sort of the corner of Hancock and Pleasant Street, behind that birch tree. The panels that we're using are a matte black without any striations on them, and the roof is a dark roof to begin with, so I feel like it will really blend in this location. And then in doing that, I remember when we got our original approvals, there was some discussion whether we needed to do the faux chimney, because it's such a tall building, and I feel like it's not going to be just putting it there because it was there, I just don't think it adds a lot to the building. And there's a lot going on, and we'd like to be able to eliminate that faux chimney. I think that
Cover it.
pretty much covers it. Are there any questions?
Thanks. Yeah, any questions, comments? Sure, Martin.
I think I could accept the loss of the faux chimney. My hope is that maybe you could take that 4 feet setback for the solar panels and make that more than 4. Possibly run a row down to the, you know how you have that little dog leg? Maybe make the dog leg a little longer with a couple of those panels?
Yeah, we could, we remove the first 2, and it just means, more armature on the roof, but we could put the panels, 2 more panels on the addition
That'd be
side.
great.
And then, that's a good exposure there. If we went to 6 feet to start the, if we change from 4 feet to 6 feet, I don't think you're going to be able to see it, because when you go back to that photo, that was the place where I took the Richmond Street photo is where I could see the most of that roof. And it's just a couple steps, and once you get closer, it's too high up there. So
the more you could push it back, even the better. That would be great. Thank you.
Okay, great.
What else?
Yeah, I'll just say I took a stroll up there, and the way this house is situated on top of the hill, so close to its neighbor, you really can't see the faux chimney or the solar arrays. And the fact that you said it would be the same color as the roof, I have no objections.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anybody else? I agree. I'll say I walked up there and it's really smashed in there, so it's not visible. I had a question on the aluminum garage doors. My only concern about obviously having aluminum is that it would potentially get dented or bumped or,
They're pretty heavy gauge.
Okay.
Aluminum. It's not like a thin panel.
And you've worked with them before?
We've worked
so-
with them before, yep. And they come pre-finished with like a Kynar finish. It's really pretty bomb-proof finish.
Okay. Anything else? All right, John?
Yeah, I'm all right.
No?
Just got a cough drop.
Okay.
Great.
Great. Well, any comments in the public? No? Okay, great. I will close the public hearing and need a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve with the stipulations stated with the the allowance of the removal of the chimney requirement and the shifting of the solar panels back to a minimum of 6 feet.
Second?
I believe that is in keeping with the historic nature of the community and is consistent with the special and defining characters of the historic district.
All right.
Second?
Yeah, we're good. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye. Thank you. Have a good night.
So, so it seems like it makes the removal of a chimney a two-step process. One to remove the actual chimney, and the other to remove the faux chimney that was replacing it.
They had approval before to remove the chimney.
So this is removing the faux chimney.
This is removing the faux chimney. All right, should we go down to the table for our work session?
Sure.
Mic with your paper, that's all. It gets really loud if you're listening at home.
Right. Pull this up just because I know I have a quiet voice. We'll do this in.
Let's do that. Okay. That way you get more room.
Work session requested by Cyrus Lawrence Gardner Beer and Erica Karen Beer, owners, for property located at 64 Mount Vernon Street, wherein permission is requested to allow exterior renovations to an existing structure, rebuild existing one-story shed into a two-story shed with entry porch, as per plans on file in the planning department. Said property is shown on Assessor Map 111 as Lot 30 and lies within the General Residence B and Historic Districts. Welcome back.
Thank you. I didn't
just
realize you were a blind gardener. No eye.
Oh.
Oh, God.
I'm sorry, my wife's a gardener. That's what we
Well,
Do I state my name?
please introduce yourself and then show us what you got.
My name is Cyrus Beer. I live at 64 Mount Vernon Street, and I'm here, as you said, to have a work session to redo the shed in our backyard. So my wife and I have lived here for 11 years now. The shed has always been there since we moved here. It's sitting on wood sills that just sit on the ground, so it's rotting. And the other thing with it is that it is almost on the property line. I think it's 1 foot from the property line. So literally to work on that south side of the shed, we would have to stand in our neighbor's garden bed, essentially. So animals have started getting in there. There's squirrels that are in there. You'd see them chewing away at stuff. So for these reasons, we have been thinking for years of redoing the shed, bringing it in off the lot line and putting a real foundation under it. Yeah. So Isaac, I don't know can we show some pictures of where it is, like a street view? You may be familiar. You can almost see it if you go outside here.
Yeah.
It's tucked around. You can see the smokestack behind it. That's from the parking lot right just south of here. I think the thing that I want to show is, if we can see a street view.
Yeah, let me just 1 second. I'm pulling that up.
One thing I want to show is it's just kind of how tucked away it is back in there. On the back side is the parking lot. Where the smokestack is, that's the power plant for City Hall. On the north side is City Hall. And then, yeah, so there you can, if you, can you go down Mount Vernon a little bit? There, you can see it tucked away back in there. That's it, right in there. Behind it is the parking lot, like I said, north, you can see there. City Hall. Where it's very noticeable is our direct neighbor to the south, which is Susan and John Henry, who are both support this project. And a little bit, I think the Spears live right across the street, and the Cooney Tea Hands. They'll be able to see it. Beyond that, you're not allowed to drive past our house unless you're a police officer. We do get some traffic in the summer going up to the farmer's market. People walk. There's a path, sort of an informal path there that people walk through. So our intent is, and hope is that it's attractive and a nice addition to the neighborhood, but it's not a prominent location, that's easily seen.
Will you save any of the old structure or just?
Yeah, well, so, okay, let me get into a little bit. So, can we go to the presentation? Cool. So to start, I went down to the Athenaeum. Can we go up? One more. Okay, yeah, sure. So I went down to the Athenaeum, and they have a record, a plan from 1920. If you go to the next page, Isaac. So you can see, I don't know if, should I go up and point to it, or Isaac, maybe you can. You see the maternity ward, that's what's now City Hall. That was the old maternity ward. And so it's the first house just to the left of maternity ward is our house. And you can see in the back there, in the back left corner of our lot, there used to be a two-story structure with what looks like a porch. Unfortunately, they didn't have any pictures at the Athenaeum of
It's probably a shed.
a view
just
of it.
A one-story shed.
They said it was two. They said it was 2 stories.
Yes, I'm saying the one-story portion is probably just like
Okay.
a shed-roofed
Got it.
addition thing, yeah.
And you can see, I don't know if this is important, but I thought it was kind of neat, is that cross on the structure. If you go down to the next page,
Indicates a hip roof, doesn't it?
it means it was a stable. I don't know if that is relevant or anything. I thought that was kind of neat. But there used to be a 2-story structure there. What's there today is now 1 story. The next map they had was 1946, and the structure was gone. They didn't have anything in between. So at some point between 1920 and 1946, the 2-story structure was removed, and at some point unknown, that this 1-story garage was built. Shed. So our intent is to build a 2-story and hopefully go back to closer to what was there originally. The other way that we're hoping to preserve what's there is, I think probably the only thing that seems to me worth preserving is the doors. So we're going to maintain the doors. They're a bit warped, so I think I can fix them up so that we can keep the doors. Otherwise, it's really just siding. The windows they don't even close, and if they do, they're very much out of square. So there's really nothing to save there. So as far as the design, there were 2 considerations. The first is that I want to build it as a timber frame, which I don't think is particularly relevant here, other than the massing, which it sort of calls for a simple traditional box massing that was also what was there originally. The other design approach is we wanted to pick up on elements of the house, so we wanted to make it a diminutive version, if you will, of the house. So there are 2 in the next slide. Yeah, one up there, just on the porch. Just wanted to show what we wanted to do with the porch is very similar, have a hipped roof, just without the brackets, because maybe it's a little less design, a little simpler, but the same posts, and then it doesn't need a railing because it'd be right next to the ground. But overall, the design of the porch would be similar. And then if you scroll down to the next one, you can see the way our house is. It's there's a motif of the second floor having a cathedral ceiling. It's pretty much everywhere in our second floor. And you can see here, there are two sort of places where the wall is about 14 to 16 feet wide, and then the second floor has a window in the cathedral ceiling. So we wanted to pick up on that element. And then the last thing might be harder to see here, but on the eave detail, so the way the eave is very traditional eave, where the crown comes down the rake and it wraps along. I don't know, maybe I can point to, is that okay?
You can, just don't touch the screen.
Okay.
And don't
speak.
Don't speak.
You need a microphone.
So this comes down. At that detail where the eave,
Where it returns.
at the detail where the eave returns, it's just the fillet of the crown that returns, but the crown itself miters and returns on the straight, on the horizontal.
Virtually impossible to do now.
So it's tricky because you have different profiles of
You
crown.
have to get a different molding.
You can.
We've
So
always gotten two different crowns for that, yes.
I'm convinced I'm going to be able to find someone who can do that. And if not, I know there's a lumberyard in Cambridge, Mass, Anderson McQuaid, that I know will do that
Cut it.
detail.
They
So,
probably have it.
so that detail's on both sides of our house. So we wanted to match that as well. Let's see. So the next is sort of the plot plan of what's there existing today. The dotted line is the lot line. You can see how close it is. It's basically on the lot line. And then the next page is our intent to bring it in off the lot line, so give it some space. The next one is that's existing. The north elevation, that's what you see from our yard. I also feel like it doesn't really fit in the neighborhood. The fact that the doors are offset, the very low-pitched roof, the fact that the north elevation has no windows on it. I don't think to me, it doesn't fit in too well in the neighborhood as it is. So then the next page is our proposal. I think this just shows the hip roof of the porch, but if you scroll down, so we would keep the doors on the left. I wanted to go through the material choices because we're open and looking for advice really from you guys. I'll start with the roof. I personally really like the look of the faux slate roof. There was a kind that Nick Cracknell recommended that was, the name of it's escaping me right now. But it would make it a more expensive roof than how the house has asphalt shingles. So if you think that makes it, it doesn't fit in with the house, we could save us some money. We could go with an asphalt shingle roof. But I just like the look. Plus, they just last for I don't know, forever, basically. As far as the windows, we're planning on going with Green Mountain windows. I know that was a popular choice when I was here. For the siding, it really could go either clapboard or shingle siding. I think we've gone with clapboard. I could reuse some of the clapboards that were existing there, but if I don't, I'll use them on my house because my house needs plenty of round repair. So
Keep a few.
those will be used either way. And then for the foundation, we're going to do a veneer of brick around the base. I think that's about it. And wood trim everywhere.
Great.
Want to get the chimney back.
Work session? This is perfect.
And then one last thing is the south, so looking south, which is looking at Susan and John Henry's house, it's really an unobstructed south-facing sun-lit roof, and we thought maybe we put solar panels on there.
And you're putting a chimney from floor to ceiling here.
Yeah, and then a chimney, yep.
Is it going to vent anything, or is this aesthetic?
No, yeah, so planning to put a wood stove on the inside and vent it out through the chimney.
You should explore, this is as pretty as a prayer book. You should explore a decorative cap for the chimney. You know, this is, you should be able to find a period example of
Oh, I see. Okay.
of a deck, you know, I know you've drawn the chimney just with a square
Yeah.
top, but think seriously about putting some sort of stepped five-course cap on, yeah.
Oh, you mean corbelling
Out,
the bricks? or
out
you
for
mean-
one, out for two, and then
Okay.
in for one at the top, that
Yeah.
sort of thing.
Got it.
That'll dress the thing off. I don't think it needs anything else. I mean, I may be speaking out of turn, but it's the porch posts they'd be lovely if you could do that, rather than, you know, what kind of PVC square box. This is pretty. This is pretty. You'll be real happy. As far as the synthetic slate roofs, I don't know for certain, but we've not replaced one yet. That doesn't say everything, but there's no early failure on them.
Right.
I'm pretty sure everybody's going to nod on the solar panels on the a relatively discrete surface of the roof. The brick lip is on your foundation. I would think you'd match the brick, so put a little effort into picking the right brick.
Okay.
Morin probably.
What was that last one?
Morin Brick Company?
Warren Brick Company.
The old port.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty, real pretty. When you get done, I got a little bit of room in my house, then you come over and,
Build another?
yeah. You'll have all that practice in.
Yes, Cyrus, I think you're making a lot of people happy with this. It's gorgeous. Matching the porch, making a little version of your house I think it's awesome. The fact that there was historically something there. I think this is awesome.
Any thoughts on the roof or the clapboards versus shingle siding?
Clapboard. I would prefer clapboards.
You would?
myself. Yeah.
I think that's just better. Yep, the neighborhood and the house. Yep.
I had a question about the roofing, just with the mechanicals that you want to put on it, because I don't know how easy it is to attach anything to these synthetic slates, and if you needed to remove it, how easy is it to patch it or repair it? And stuff
Just
like that. So
drill
it's
through 'em.
just something to look into.
Great, yeah, I haven't, that's a good point. Okay.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's,
Yeah, nice job.
3 columns are kind of unusual way to go, but, I think
He needs it.
I would grant you a license to do whatever you want with the materials, and I think you've got a great scale and massing, and, would you say pretty is a prayer book?
Yeah. Not overtly fancy, but solid, something you could take home.
I agree.
What will you use it for? We'll use it as a garage again with the garage doors? or-
Yeah, so our plan, for now, yes, so there's no planning, we need to go to the zoning board for the setbacks, but we're no planned change in use.
Not a planned unit
No, but,
Where the mother-in-law's gonna go, huh?
but our thought is that this would give us the option in the future to potentially turn it into a livable unit, an ADU.
Yeah, it's awful cute for a garage.
it's substantial. I think it's 14 by 22, is it? Something-
Yeah, 16.
16, yeah, that's a substantial size. Your second floor is going to be very nice
Yeah.
also. It's going to be a nice
Well,
little
I'm gonna-
office or something up there.
Yes, hi Larry.
This is Larry.
Yeah.
I'm here. Hi. I just want to say, it's absolutely stunning. I'll second what whoever said that you can come over to my house and build another one there too. That, or when you're done, have us all over. It looks amazing. I think if you're going to use it for a garage, wow! But I mean, that would make one heck of a beautiful rental cottage. I mean, it is stunningly beautiful. I am really, really impressed.
You could have future in this business.
Well, big shout out to the Placework who took my original rough ideas and turned it into this, so.
That's good.
It's beautiful, really beautiful.
Cyrus, when you come back for the public hearing, Placework, the detail on, that you were pointing out on the eve, it's not the same as your house. Oh, sorry. It's just, it looks like it's more standard as opposed to just
Oh,
like,
really?
you know, they
Okay.
just like plop something from the
It's just-
CAD design.
It's just a
Yeah.
line drawing.
Yeah, and they just want to be sure that either they fix that so that it looks like your house, or that you specifically say on the plans that it will be your house. So
Okay.
that Jason doesn't come out later and say that you did it the wrong way.
Okay.
So Cyrus, that's just a panel over the garage doors? Just a blank panel, is that it?
You know, I was thinking it would be a light, like a divided light
Yeah.
window.
You sometimes bump into a little bit of problem with the headers that's required over the garage door.
Right,
So sometimes you have to move it up.
yeah.
So
Okay, I'll make sure that's handled before I come back next month.
That's great. Yeah, I think, there are very few left in Portsmouth, but plenty of cities have these kind of urban barns that were just meant to hold maybe one animal. There's a hayloft above, your cart or your carriage or whatever. I know that, like Keene has a bunch of, they're all over in the cities, and you could always kind of look for some of those to get a little bit of inspiration, but I think this is, I'm not saying you should change anything. So I think it's, obviously you've got lots of support here. So, so I'm
Thank you very much.
assuming that you want to just come back for a public hearing.
Can we do the public hearing next month?
Yes, yeah. Just talk to Isaac about, in terms of what the deadline is for getting the materials to him.
I think you've already submitted the HCC along with the BOA when you did that, so I think we're actually good with that next month's submission. But
Okay.
if anything changes on the plans or if you want to update, just make sure I get a new copy of that.
Okay.
Okay.
Great. There's nobody else online?
Anybody in the public?
1 second. I do not see anybody on Zoom.
Great, well then, thank you. I'll just take a motion to close the to close the work session.
So moved.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Looks like none opposed. All right, thank you,
Thank you
Cyrus.
very much.
Yeah, thank you, Kathy. Appreciate it.
We'll see you
What
soon.
condition are those garage doors in?
Pretty bad.
So
warped
I had to rescue them this fall, late fall, exactly like these. And they are just, they're made out of hard pine. You look at them, you get a splinter.
Yeah.
Just touching them.
Yeah.
And those raised
Did you
panels.
take the warp out of them?
I tried. All I could really do is
Cable 'em?
put angles and twists,
Yeah.
turn both.
That's what they've already done that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't want to steam it, get just like.
That's what I was,
And the hinges, they use these big giant slotted screws like this, and you put a big screwdriver on, you go, and they don't come out. The screws are horrible. It's a nightmare. Good luck.
Good luck.
It's a project.
Yeah.
all right. Well, hopefully I won't have to come back and.
No. Take them, put them somewhere good and where you can work on them. Over to Dave's shop. He's
Over
got
at Dave's shop,
plenty
I
of
got
room.
plenty of room. Yeah. If you're in a bind about the molding profiles, I can do that.
Really?
Yeah, over at Dave's shop, Motion to adjourn?
Well, I just wanted to have a quick reminder that we're meeting here next, you don't have to stay for this. That we'll be meeting here next week, 6:30. We will have a whole a work session specifically to talk about our solar panel ideas for improving, streamlining everything for the our recommendations for the motion that the city council put forward, that we talked about with the planning board last month. So we will meet next week, hopefully have a good discussion, get some nice line items, a list of what we would like to
Are we
look
going
at.
to discuss more than the solar panels? For instance, the equipment, the cables and all that stuff? that, you
That's
know,
part of it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but what about the units for the heat pumps and all that? Are we talking about that or not?
This is just for solar panels.
Good.
All right, now I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All right, thank you.
Aye.
Great.